Hello, I'm Elvia Susana Rubalcava. I'm the writer and director of A Paz Girl. I'll be answering some questions about my play. First up is Andrew Cervantes' question, a fellow playwright. I like the nod to brujas. Do you feel your characters actually have a magical nature? I do. I feel Ama and Mari have some sort of spiritual blood connection to their family when something's wrong, when um, someone's crying or they feel like something's about to happen. They definitely, their spidey senses, they feel the, disturbance in the force or brujeria, whatever you want to call it, and they act on it. Mom acts on it. She'll track down her kids. She'll, verbally beat it out of them to see what's going on, what's happening. Where Mari, she has the same, type of gut feelings, but she tends to not react in them. She's in the belief of this, like, it's kind of like wishing it, or just maybe it's also her not wanting to deal with it, is pushing away the responsibilities that she really needs to take and act on her father's health, but instead is denying the gut feelings that she's experiencing like her mother. So yes, they're brujas. The second question is by Moises Rodriguez, another fellow playwright in the festival. Are there COVID and non-COVID versions of this play? Can you compare and contrast the impact of that being embedded into the story? Yes. There are two versions of this play. The first time it was staged at the Short and Sweet Hollywood Festival back in October 2019, and it was directed beautifully by Rosa Navarrete for the stage. It was a really great experience. We won People's Choice Award and made it to the semifinals. For this, when I submitted it to Teatro FRIDA KAHLO, this was pre-COVID, everything was normal. And then all of a sudden we're socially distancing, we're having to be in quarantine because of the pandemic. I thought really long and hard. I wanted to make sure that everyone in our cast was comfortable socially distancing and doing rehearsals, but my gut told me to just push through and push myself as a writer and as a director and try and do it all on Zoom. 20 years from now, I want to look back and be like, I had to do that. I created this because we were in a pandemic. I think we're going to be in this situation, a lot longer than we thought. So I wanted to have the tools and learn the skills to produce work while we're having to be safe at home. I also wanted to, while we were rehearsing, two of my actors, Elena Campbell Martinez and Gabriel Romero, pushed me as a writer to raise the stakes and just include that we were dealing with COVID, that having that characters be in the pandemic, just to push the story and add more to the stake. So I'm really grateful for them. It's always, as a writer, you're constantly looking to see how you can improve a play or push yourself. And there's been many edits and throughout. This is a play that I would like to expand on and make it a full length. So I'm really grateful that I've had the opportunity to see it with Short and Sweet Hollywood, but also here with Teatro FRIDA KAHLO Theater Festival, and see it with different actors and see it in different mediums. So that way it helps me as a writer to go back and see where I want to take it. But yeah, thank you. It was a really good question. The next question is from Isabel Garcia. How can Mari break free of being caught between her parents? Does she want to? That's a good question. So, yeah, I feel like Mari, in some ways, she wants to break free, but she's at that age, in her 30s, in her late 30s, where she is feeling she's married, she's living her, independent life, but wanting to enjoy just being, but she still feels like whenever she has to be put in the middle between her parents, she goes back to being the 12-year-old or 16-year-old or just the Mari that's stuck in between her parents' drama. And since Mari, the writer in the play, and Elvia, the writer, that this play is based on, I feel she does also still want to be in the middle. She's always been kind of the peacekeeper between them, the interpreter between their fights, but also in solving what's going on with her parents, or not solving, she's trying to deal with her own issues, and her own demons, and her own demons within herself, but also not trying to perpetuate the same issues and problems in her own marriage. Really good question, but it's hard to break free from the guilt of family, or just the guilt that parents put on you, but also your own personal guilt of what do you do, but also not having the answers. And sometimes the people that are closest to you, who are asking you to act, they don't have all the answers. So Mari is a really complex character that she ends up having to make a lot of quick decisions, and sometimes is forced to. Yeah. Our next question is, remembering is critical to both forswearing atrocities and perpetuating them, hence the ongoing debate around memorials and statues. How do we remember in a world of fast information? This is by Carlos Estrada, another fellow playwright in the festival. Really good question. As a creative nonfiction writer, remembering and writing my stories about my past, on my current situation, or anything based on the future is based on me and my personal experience. When I wrote A Paz Girl, it was a few months before my father passed away. When we were when we first had our table read, I was in hospice for Short and Sweet Hollywood. I was in hospice with my dad. And so back in October 2019, it was a really crazy time, because he had passed away a few months before the show opened. So it was, extremely healing, but at the same time, it was my way of remembering my dad and honoring him. And I've written, I'm also a poet, so I've written several pieces about him. A lot of my plays are based on my family. So, in this rush to this fast-paced world, those moments that we do remember, that we can hold on to what's happening to us, to what's going on, is by creating art, but creating art through our experiences. And I think this is really important, why it's so important to write our stories and to work on getting them produced and shared with the world. So I'm really grateful to Ruben and Teatro FRIDA KAHLO Theater for giving me this opportunity to share A Paz Girl and our work. And I want to thank my assistant director, Carmelita Maldonado, and our technical director, Santi Samano, and our wonderful cast, Rachel Gonzalez Martinez, Elena Campbell Martinez, Gabriel Romero, and Cesar Sosa. Thank you so much for all your hard work, and enjoy the show.